she released a tweet about 37 minutes ago. It stated the WNBA and WBPA have reached an agreement on a moratorium for league business. Sources tell ESPN this is necessary because the sides had failed to reach an agreement on a CBA agreement or an extension by the January.
That confusion you're sensing? That is exactly what every WNBA fan is sitting with right now. January 9th came and went. The CBA deadline passed, and instead of receiving clarity on whether we will even see a 2026 season, the league dropped a term most people had to immediately Google: moratorium. Ramona Shelburne broke the news on January 13th at 11 p.m. Eastern, and the response was instant. What does this actually mean? Here is what a moratorium actually signifies in sports terms.
Because I need more clarity on this agreement, man. So I'm going to go to Google and look and see exactly what this means. So a moratorium is a temporary authorized suspension of an activity or legal obligation like halting debt payments, construction, or certain laws to provide a pause for review, reconstruction, or to address an urgent issue. The common types including financial debt relief, building development, and legal government.
It is a temporary freeze on league business while both sides continue negotiating. Think of it like hitting the pause button on free agency, qualifying offers, and core designations. The NBA does this regularly during their CBA talks. But here is the critical difference. The NBA uses moratoriums when they are inches away from a deal and just need a few days to finalize the fine print. The WNBA just used one because they missed their deadline entirely and still have no agreement in sight. That is the part that should concern everyone. Qualifying offers were scheduled to go out on January 11th. Free agency was supposed to kick off. Teams needed to make core designation decisions. Instead, everything is frozen in place with no end date other than when a new CBA is ratified.
In the 26th season. I do want to be clear there. I believe they reached an agreement to this just a proper word to continue negotiations, if I'm reading this correctly. So as of right now, it's still basically they still don't have a WNBA CBA agreement. Now Alexa Philippou retweeted this as well. This is a very interesting story, man. We have been dealing with this for the
Players' Union initially pushed back on the league's first moratorium proposal because it contained what sources called unnecessary language, beyond simply delaying free agency. They demanded those clauses be removed before accepting. Notice what is happening here. The moratorium only applies to free agency transactions. Everything else regarding the current CBA remains in place under what both sides keep calling status quo. That phrase has been repeated constantly this week. Status quo is corporate speak, for we are stuck and don't know how to move forward. Meanwhile, coaches are staring at empty rosters, wondering how they are supposed to build teams, implement systems, or develop chemistry if free agency doesn't start until March or April. Here is what makes this particularly messy.
Free agents until there was a new CBA agreement. So I'm wondering if the players is doing this to stop free agency. That's what this tweet is saying. You know, somebody else said this is actually bad news for fans and coaches. Coaches will have to implement complex systems in a condensed offseason with very little time for players' development and chemistry building, which will hurt the product on the court. Now, sign replacement players. So
right now, only 2 players not on rookie contracts are signed through 2026 outside this moratorium: Lexi Brown and Kalani Brown. Everyone else? Their status is completely uncertain. Teams can't send qualifying offers to restricted free agents. They can't use core designations, which function like the NFL's franchise tag. They can't negotiate new deals. The entire offseason is on ice. And the longer this drags on, the more compressed the preparation time becomes for the 2026 season, assuming we even get one.
Had me thinking we were going somewhere else. Right, man, like it had got so bad, I straight had to Google what the word meant. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, I didn't even know what the damn word meant. Now, this is not a good look for the WNBA players or owners, man. Y'all still can't come up with an agreement. Y'all still can't come up with a system in place to get us a 2026 season. Because basically what y'all saying is that we still at the negotiation table. We still haven't made any progress in the current state of the whole negotiations.
Let's dig into why they are actually stuck. The January 9th deadline wasn't arbitrary. It was written into the existing CBA as the date when either side could opt out and trigger renegotiations. The players opted out back in 2024, citing the massive revenue growth the league experienced after Caitlin Clark's rookie season. They saw attendance records shattered, TV ratings, triple and new media deals worth hundreds of millions. They said essentially, "We want our fair share of this growth before we commit to more years under the old agreement." The owners, meanwhile, are in a complicated position. Yes, revenue is up, but they are also in the middle of expansion negotiations with new cities. They are finalizing that media rights deal. They are trying to figure out how much of this growth is sustainable versus a one-year spike. And they are looking at the ledgers, knowing that most WNBA teams still operate at a loss, subsidized by their NBA parent organizations. So when players come asking for significantly higher salary caps...
Look, man, because at the end of the day, fans and players need clarity. And it seemed like none of y'all know what the hell y'all doing, and we just sitting here now. Now we're just sitting here day in and day out. Y'all keep, once again, donkey in a carrot, bruh. This looking very donkey in a carrot-ish. I just got to be honest here with you guys. Let me see what Annie Constable said. Maybe Annie Constable might.
And better revenue sharing. The owners are saying, show us this growth continues for another year. That is the fundamental tension. Players believe they have already proven the league's value and deserve immediate compensation increases. Owners want more data before committing to financial structures they might not be able to sustain. Neither side is necessarily wrong, but they aren't finding middle ground, which brings us to the real question. What happens if they can't reach an agreement in the next few weeks? The owners could simply say, no agreement means no season. We have seen it in other leagues. The NBA lost half a season once. It is devastating for everyone involved, especially a league like the WNBA that is finally building mainstream momentum. But it is also the ultimate leverage play. The question becomes, which side has more to lose?
So WNBA and union agreed to freeze free agency as CBA talks drag on, man. So WNBA players and owners have agreed to a mutual freezing free agency. A source familiar with the negotiation told for Sports Monday evening. As the sides continue to negotiate a new collective bargaining, the league's initial motion was made roughly at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, the union felt it contained unnecessary.
Players have shorter careers and can't afford to miss a year of earning potential. But owners also can't afford to waste this moment of peak interest in women's basketball. The alternative scenario is replacement players, which sounds absurd until you remember it has happened before. The NFL used replacement players during the 1987 strike. The quality of play dropped dramatically, fans stayed away, and it was a disaster everyone wants to forget, but it also broke the union's leverage and got players back on the field under management's terms. Could the WNBA actually try this? The logistics would be nightmarish. Where do you find replacement players good enough to maintain even a minimum standard of professional basketball?
Sending the qualifying offers of core destination signing and all negotiation. The motion will end when a new collective bargaining agreement is rectified. So as of right now, they're using big words telling us it still ain't no damn 2026 season. Now, the glitch in the system is the results of from January 9th when the deadline paused and they did not reach a CBA agreement. Now, typically during free agent period, qualifying offers including core destination, similar to the NFL franchise tag, could begin.
College players can't participate without losing eligibility. International players have their own contracts. You would be looking at former players, overseas veterans, and G League talent cobbled together into makeshift rosters. Here's the thing that makes this entire situation more frustrating. The WNBA just had its best year ever. Caitlin Clark's arrival brought unprecedented attention. Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, and the entire 2024 rookie class delivered. Attendance was up across the board. Playoff games were must-watch television. The Commissioner's Cup actually felt relevant. Every metric pointed toward growth and sustainability. This should have been the easiest CBA negotiation in league history.
Of their rookie skill deal. So as of right now, man, they stopping any talks with free agency. Now, Lexi Brown and Kalani Brown are the only players not on rookie contracts signed through 2026. Outside of this multi free agent deal, the conditions of the current CBA will remain in place as both sides continue negotiation. In this period of status quo, which I'm so tired of hearing about the status quo thing, because we're not like, we already like, I don't know what the hell they doing, man, but this is ugly because we constantly hearing about the status quo thing. We already talked about the status quo.
Instead, it has turned into a crisis that threatens to derail all that momentum. Think about the timing. Right now, in January, women's basketball is more popular than it has ever been. Caitlin Clark is a household name. Brands are investing in WNBA partnerships. Networks are bidding for broadcast rights. This is the moment the league has been building toward for 25 years. And instead of capitalizing on it, they are stuck in a negotiation stalemate that is making everyone look incompetent. The players have a legitimate grievance. The salary cap in 2024 was $46 million per team. That is roughly what a single mid-level NBA player made. Meanwhile, WNBA players are generating real revenue, selling out arenas, and driving TV ratings that justify significantly higher compensation. The top players make around $250,000 in base salary, which sounds decent until you realize that is for 6 months of work, and most players have to play overseas during the off-season just to make a living wage. They aren't asking for NBA money. They are asking for a fair percentage of the revenue they generate. But the owners also have a point. The WNBA's financial structure is complicated. Most teams are owned by NBA franchises that have been subsidizing losses for years. The league only recently started turning a profit as a whole. Expansion fees from new teams like Golden State and Toronto are providing capital infusions, but that is one-time money, not sustainable revenue. The new media deal is worth more than previous contracts, but it is still a fraction of what men's sports command. So when players ask for the salary cap to double or triple, owners are doing the math and wondering if the numbers actually work. What is particularly frustrating is that both sides should be motivated to get this done quickly. Every day this drags on, teams fall further behind in preparation. Free agents can't make plans. Coaches can't build rosters. Training camps will be rushed. The quality of play in early 2026 games will suffer if players don't have adequate time to build chemistry. And all of this is happening while the league is trying to integrate 2 expansion teams, which is already a massive logistical challenge. The moratorium announcement also revealed something about the negotiation dynamics. The fact that the union initially rejected the league's proposal because it contained unnecessary language suggests there is still significant distrust between the sides. They can't even agree on the terms of a temporary pause without arguing over the wording. That isn't a sign of productive negotiations. That is a sign of fundamental disagreement about how to move forward. And here is what nobody is talking about: the international implications. WNBA players make most of their money playing overseas during the off-season. If the 2026 WNBA season is delayed or canceled, those international contracts become their only income. But European and Asian leagues plan their seasons around WNBA availability. If American players suddenly have open schedules, it disrupts those leagues' planning too. This isn't just a domestic issue. It is affecting women's basketball globally. The comparison to other leagues is instructive. When the NBA had its lockout in 2011, they eventually reached a deal because both sides recognized that missing games would cost everyone too much money. But the NBA was already massively profitable. Missing half a season hurt, but the league survived. The WNBA doesn't have that cushion. Missing an entire season right now at this moment of peak interest could set the league back a decade. Fans who just discovered women's basketball might move on to other sports. Sponsors might redirect their investments. The momentum would be gone. So what is the path forward? Realistically, both sides need to make significant compromises in the next few weeks. Players probably won't get everything they are asking for in terms of salary increases and revenue sharing. Owners probably need to accept that the old financial model doesn't work anymore, and players deserve a bigger piece of the growing pot. The moratorium buys them time, but it doesn't solve the underlying disagreements about how to value the league's growth and who benefits from it. The irony is that everyone involved wants the same thing: a thriving, sustainable WNBA that pays players fairly and generates consistent profit. They are just arguing about how to get there and how to split the rewards. But while they argue, the clock is ticking. Spring training should start in a few months. Free agency should be happening right now. Instead, everything is frozen in place while lawyers, agents, and union representatives debate contract language. Here's my take. This moratorium is not good news dressed up in corporate language. It is a sign that negotiations are stuck, and both sides are buying time to figure out their next move. The fact that they missed the January 9th deadline and needed to implement a freeze on league business tells you everything you need to know about how far apart they still are. And the longer this drags on, the more likely we are looking at either a significantly delayed 2026 season or no season at all. So where does that leave fans? Waiting, hoping, wondering if the league that just delivered its best season ever is about to implode over money and ego. The WNBA finally broke through to mainstream relevance, finally proved it could generate real revenue and attract serious attention. And now it is all at risk because the people running the league can't figure out how to share the success they all helped create. That is not just disappointing, it is inexcusable.